The movie opens with a man named Peter narrating the questions he has regarding life and how the world moves forward regardless of them. It turns into a nightmare where a bunch of people in the streets get shot at by a bright object in the sky. He wakes up to his wife, Alice, complaining about not getting sleep since he refuses to seek help for his nightmares. The next morning, Peter tells his younger daughter, Lucy, that he'll take the family to the pier after work later on that day. He takes the elevator down with his other daughter Hannah, telling her about his plans to be less detached from his family and spend more time with them. Peter then walks to where he works. In the middle of his job, he hallucinates, his hand bleeding, and crashes the machine he's working with. His boss David, who sees this from afar, is concerned about his lack of sleep. Peter claims that it's a minor accident and that he's gotten better. Doubting that, he lets him take off from work early when Peter agrees to call a clinic David heard of where people with stress and insomnia are treated. Alice exhibits her project to her coworkers. Her boss asks her to stay late with him to discuss work, but she declines, stating that she was already thinking of requesting an early leave for that day. The scene changes to Peter walking a dark hallway. He puts down his stuff as a flickering lamp grabs his attention. He has flashes of him running from gunshots as two people on TV debate about aliens having rights. He wakes up to find himself on the floor and sighs when he sees how long he's been laying there. He hurries out of the dark room to the streets, where he sees bright lights in the sky from a distance. He asks the people walking by him if they see it too, but everyone ignores him. He approaches a shop where a telescope is being sold. Back at home, Alice tells her daughter Hannah that her father probably had a good reason to bail on them. He arrives way after their daughters are asleep. Alice is annoyed to hear about the nightmare and the various inconveniences that come with it. She tells Peter that his daughters are disappointed in him and he should make up for it by getting help. Peter doesn't look forward to people telling him it's all in his head, to which Alice replies that it is, in fact, in his head. Their conversation is interrupted by their daughter Lucy, who's awakened by their yelling. Alice takes her back to bed. Peter sees another nightmare, this time with Lucy crying for her mother, who's lying face down. Hannah points a gun towards him, and he wakes up. He can hear his family's voice from downstairs, which calms him down. The wellness center's number is by the bedside. Peter goes downstairs and tries to explain why he missed family night to his daughters. Hannah barges out in anger, ignoring her father's apology. He wins over Lucy, though, by fixing her talking monkey doll, Herman. His wife is relieved to know that Peter called the doctor and will see her in the afternoon after work. Sitting at the reception, a man named Chris asks Peter about what he sees when he has trouble sleeping, and if he sees someone close to him, too. Peter doesn't answer, but the man keeps talking anyway, as if he's in a hurry. He goes on to say that the lights mean something bad is coming, and that these doctors erase the patient's memory to make sure it stays a secret. As he's being taken in, he reassures Peter that they're not crazy, and that the only reason he's doing this is because he needs the nightmares to stop. A painting on the wall entrances Peter, and he sees flashes of him, his wife, and David holding a rifle. He nervously leaves the wellness center before he gets to see the doctor. Back at home, Peter tells his wife that he left before the appointment because he thinks he might be seeing signs of something that's bound to happen. Alice, who's upset that he once again let her down, pulls her focus back on organizing the house since they invited some friends over. Her friends congratulate her for the promotion that she got, but she's too worried about her husband to celebrate it. Peter watches the sky through his telescope for most of the evening, instead of welcoming the guests. Later on, Alice's friend Sam sends her husband, Ray, to talk to Peter. He asks him if whatever he found on the balcony is more important to him than his family, whom he's been avoiding for some time now. Before Peter could answer though, he notices that bright objects were flying around the sky. He's surprised that Ray sees it too. Alice and her friends also notice something's going on outside and enter the balcony. A shining light falls on the city, and a wave of pressure throws them all to the ground. they get up to see various unknown objects landing on Earth. Everyone panics, looking for their kids. Peter finds Lucy, and after giving her to her mother, proceeds to look for his other daughter. He walks into a room where he comes face to face with a machine outside the window. He's almost shot multiple times, but Ray saves his life by dragging him into hiding. The alien machine leaves when it sees no one in sight, and the two fathers scramble through the house looking for their daughters. Ray leads the way as he and Peter climb down to save Hannah and Ray's daughter, Megan, who were trapped in an elevator. Alice shushes her crying daughter under the table that they're hiding in. The machine noises get louder, and the lights search for them, but leave when it can't find them. Ray and Peter, along with their children, climb up the stairs and freeze when they hear muffled screaming from a distance. Peter approaches a door and sees machines going around shooting at people. Seeing that they're near, he rushes everyone upstairs and reunites with Alice and Lucy. Ray and Megan go looking for Sam. Peter tells Alice that those things from his nightmare are in the building and his family isn't safe. She asks him what they should do next according to his dreams, but since they're not in a specific order, all the clues he has is that they need to find David. The screaming from outside gets louder, so they barricade the door with furniture. Alice picks up her daughter from under the table to hide in the closet and leaves them there to help Peter, who's holding the furniture together to keep the danger out. Lucy leaves Hannah in the closet to look for Herman, who she forgot to bring with her from under the table. She goes back into the kitchen, unbeknownst to her parents, and sits back under the table with her doll. Peter and Alice push against whatever's trying to enter, and for a moment, it goes quiet, before multiple bullets are shot from behind the door, nearly killing both. It luckily misses them, but a knife starts stabbing the wall next to the door, and they run back to the bedroom. Inside the closet, they find that Lacey isn't with her older sister, and went to look for Herman. The alien creature enters the house after breaking the wall apart with its sharp knife. It quietly wanders around the house, and then finds Lucy when her talking doll goes off. It stares at her nearby, and she tells it she's not afraid of its shadow. Before it reacts to that though, Peter attacks it from behind and manages to disarm it. He tries to use the weapon on the thing, but it doesn't work for him. Alice takes Lucy away from under the table while the alien's distracted. The alien holds Peter down and almost stabs him in the face before Alice snaps and hits it from behind repeatedly until it stops moving. The family leaves their house and goes up the stairs since they can hear more gunshots downstairs. Peter asks his family to wait for him while he checks to see if there are any killers out on the roof. He's relieved to find Ray and his family instead. They watch as flying objects go around burning down buildings. One of those objects approaches the building that they're on and searches for people on the rooftop. They all stay down and wait until it eventually goes away. The parents decide that they can't stay in the open for long, and since going back through the door they came in is too risky, they hesitatingly decide to get down using the construction hoist of the building. The hoist takes them a few meters down until its loose screws give up and it's about to crash. This leaves the family no choice but to enter the floor they've reached through a broken window. Back at Peter's house, the knocked out alien rises and locates its gun, which is with Peter. He's working on bypassing the biometric barrier in the gun, which makes it only work for its owner. Alice, who's finally alone with her husband, demands to know if the aliens ever kill their daughters in his dreams. Ray interrupts them before he can answer. They all gather to discuss where to go from there. Peter has an idea to take them to where he works, which he confirms is safer and only a few blocks away. His wife comes up with a plan to use the tunnels she works with to get there. A sudden blast interrupts them. Megan looks around for her father and almost falls, but her mother grabs her. They both get shot by the floating object as Peter and his family run away. While armed aliens are approaching, Peter manages to get through the gun's barrier and shoots at them. They then leave the building, carefully moving from one hiding place to the other. They see a man getting dragged out of the building by the alien soldiers and getting murdered mercilessly. A few people start to shoot down the aliens. Peter and his family wonder who they are. Immediately after, a drone appears and kills all of them. Peter and his family hide under ruins in the city from the drones. Back inside, the alien Alice attacked earlier is tracing its gun and getting closer. Alice leads them to the entrance of one of the tunnels and starts entering one by one. Right before it's her turn to enter, Lucy spots a drone shining its light on her. She stands still in shock as it approaches. Her mother grabs her and rushes to the tunnel. The drone shoots in their direction violently until the entrance collapses behind them. They seem to be safe until they notice that Alice is hurt and bleeding. She can still walk with some help and tells her daughters not to worry, but Peter's stressed since she's the only one of them who knows the way through the tunnels. The soldier tracking them still can tell how far it is from its gun. Back in the tunnel, Alice weakens from all the blood that she lost and tells Peter to protect the girls no matter what happens. He keeps telling her to stay strong, but she asks to sit down because she got tired from all the walking. Peter tells his daughter to warm her hands, but unbeknownst to him, the alien he stole the gun from attacks him from behind. He fights back and hits it repeatedly with a rock. Peter almost shoots the alien creature, but instead asks it why it's here and why it wants to hurt his family. It raises its hand in surrender and takes off its mask, revealing that it's in fact a human. He asks the man who he is, to which there's no reply. The girls start calling for their mom, who's unconscious and won't respond. Peter realizes that he can't get her up and protect his daughters from the mysterious man at the same time. So he holds him at gunpoint and orders him to pick her up and move slowly. The man does what he's asked without complaining. They all arrive at Peter's workplace, which he can't open with the usual pin, so he resorts to calling out for help instead. The door is opened and men with weapons disarm Peter. He tries to calm them down, telling him his wife's sick. One of them, David, recognizes that it's Peter and tells the others he's a friend. They take Alice inside and start attacking the man in the enemy's suit with them, but Lucy shifts their focus toward the drones approaching and hurries inside. Medics shock Alice on her bruises, which anger her family, but David reassures them that it's a diagnostic and it's helping her. The drones are above the shelter and everyone's in a hurry. The medics tell Peter that his wife's chance of survival is low due to the low equipment. As he's getting dragged away to his death, Miles, the man who was brought in with them, shouts at Peter, claiming that he can keep her going until she gets real help. Peter asks him what he means. The man proceeds to talk about how he learned a lot about their kind, but is cut off short by David, who claims that there's no time and they should take him away. Peter stops him again when he sees his daughters crying for their mother, on whom the medics have already quit. He tells his daughters that they're going with David and he'll stay until Alice gets better and meets them at the train. He tells them he loves them and watches in despair as they're taken away. Peter and the man in the soldier suit start an operation on Alice. He opens her wound to reveal an electric material within her. Peter doesn't understand what it is, but the man asks him if he really doesn't know what he himself is. Peter, still confused about what's happening, gets anxious. The man tells him that she needs another power source, which makes Peter the only option nearby. He guides him into cutting an incision across his chest to reveal the electrical current within him too. The man approaches him and warns him that if it doesn't work, the current will split and kill them both. Peter takes a look at Alice and asks him to proceed with no hesitation. The electric shock drives Peter back in time with a flashback. Peter and Alice work as a cleaning lady and a janitor. He sees a woman being rude to her and dropping her stuff. Peter helps her pick it up, and she finds that odd for him to do since, turns out, he's an AI, and so is she. From a distance, people are screaming for human rights in a world where AI has taken over jobs and overall replaced us. Watching this from the window, Alice asks Peter what's going to happen to them. Activists talk about the ultimate danger behind the AI's feeling emotions and the need to gather them up in one place and get rid of them. Shootings begin and soldiers arrive to wipe out the AIs. Peter fights back one of them and punches him repeatedly until Alice steps in to stop him. It's too late though, and Peter looks at his bloody fists, which he saw in a nightmare before. He apologizes and tells everyone watching that he had to do it. Alice seems understanding about what he did. He passes out weapons to his AI friends, telling them that they need to defend themselves. Alice and Peter walk around a wrecked city, banishing humans away. They find Hannah and Lucy, who aren't actually their daughters, but also AI. They had their parents killed because they were human. Hannah, who's shot in her eye zone, first threatens Peter, telling him that she'll shoot him. He calms her down, putting his rifle away and telling her they're just like her and her sister. The scene changes back to the whole family in the wellness center Peter went to earlier in the movie. They're told by doctors that their memories are to be replaced so that they wouldn't have to live in fear any longer and stay a family in the homes humans had to abandon to survive. Peter wakes up with these memories back to him. He tells the man that he remembers the war and that they, AI, had to remove their own memories to forget what humans did to them. He's even surprised the man didn't kill them while they were unconscious. On the contrary, the human tells him that his grandparents' generations from 50 years ago flew off to Mars. He, amongst so many others, were taught about AI as monsters that kill any human in sight, but he still didn't think he was being sent here to kill children and families too. And that's why he helped them. Alice wakes up from her knocked out state and tells Peter that she finally understands his nightmares. It's something that already happened in the past. Meanwhile, Lucy refuses to go any further away from where her parents are. Hannah stays behind with her. Peter finds Lucy's talking monkey doll on the ground. The two of them go through the tunnels as armed humans follow them. They manage to leave, and David has already locked the door that could have led the humans further into the station. The two girls are forcefully boarded on the train. Peter and Alice scream for the train to stop. Their daughters leave the train when they see Peter and Alice. They all get on the train, and everyone's in a rush to leave. On the train, David reveals to Peter that he knew all along to prepare for what was coming ahead. He also tells him that everyone consented to forgetting because they had to free themselves of the guilt that comes with seeking freedom. Their next stop would be a safe basement where they'd calmly plan out their counterattack to take their home back. Lucy tells her father that she trusted him to bring their mother back alive, and Alice apologizes for not believing him. The movie ends as Peter narrates how he finally knows who he is and where he belongs, and that he thinks no matter our differences, there's a lot making us similar, and that might be the future. Man, what a twist. So aliens invade humans, and then it turns out the humans are the aliens, and the aliens are the humans. So who's the real good guy and who's the real bad guy in this movie? What do you think? Let me know in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for watching another movie recap, and hey, if you want to see more, make sure to click that video on screen now. Your support means the world to us, so make sure you click that like button and subscribe for more great movie content. Thanks guys, I'll see you in the next video.